My name is William S. Harris. I go by Bill, and I have been practicing law here in Tarrant County for 40 years. Well, what a gun owner should do after using the firearm in self-defense is kind of a complicated, but still at the same time very practical answer. The first thing you have to remember is that all of this is very much dependent on the factual situation at the time of the event. So there is no easy, pat answer. You can't simply say do this or do that. I would suggest at a minimum, and again, this depends on where you are. You know, it's a very different situation if somebody's trying to drag you out of your car in a carjacking or if somebody's trying to come into your home at night. You know, because how you practically respond after using your firearm in that situation is very fact dependent. But there are certain things that should be common in every circumstance. Remember that self-defense is a justification for what you did. It is not saying you didn't do it. So the first thing about self-defense is you're admitting up front that you used your gun. The next thing to remember is that all the other criteria that is in the law, and I would advise any gun owner to read those laws on self-defense that we're talking about today, not once but several times, and read them trying to construe them how they could most be used against your situation have you used your gun. Because everybody can rationalize that, you know, well, I was justified. But this isn't going to be judged necessarily by everybody. It's going to be judged by 12 people on a jury potentially, and they're going to decide whether you acted reasonably, albeit from your point of view. Now, back to your original question. What should a gun owner do after he uses his gun? The first thing is make sure the situation has become safe, whatever that means. The person that you shot at and missed has run off, and you're secure that he is gone. The person you shot is wounded but disabled, or the person you shot is dead. In any of those situations, if you are confident that it is now safe, the first thing you need to do is call 911. We're going to talk, I'm sure, in a minute here about what to say to 911, so I'm going to skip over that for a minute. You need to stay there. You need to be responsible with your gun. But remember this, you've got armed police officers that are going to be coming up to the scene of a shooting. And if you're still holding a gun, you're putting yourself at risk. So now, if you've got somebody that's still threatening you, that you have to hold at gunpoint, then that's something you just have to deal with as the situation requires. But let's assume you don't have that the situation is stable and safe. I would take the gun, I'd remove the magazine. If it's an automatic, I would pull the slide back, eject the round in the chamber, leave the slide back so that it is obviously empty to a police officer, and I would set it aside where it is not in reach of anybody that might misuse it, but it is also out of your immediate reach also, and apparently so. You know, when the police get there, be sure to display your open hands, depending on what the posture is. If you're seated in your car, have your hands on the steering wheel in clear view. Don't have them down here, put them up at the top. You want that police officer to know when he walks up on the scene where he knows a gun has been used that you're not a threat to him. Having done that, when the police officer gets there, then you're going to interact with him, and it's important how you do that, because just the mere fact that you felt that you acted in self-defense doesn't mean that's going to be accepted by law enforcement.